tall, so not the biggest barbarian, but I'm jacked.
It's a hair and braids.
We can put our hair in braids.
What if we put it into braids and then we wrapped it around and then we gave them the flowers, sticking together, and then what if we did this? Oh, come on! May I have another drink, please?
Yes, you may. And he goes over.
Put your hands up, it's better!
No. Sarah, roll my Constitution saving throw. Yes, you, I'm gonna fight you. He's sort of you guys know who I am, right?
Yeah.
Goggles.
You're
Dr.
Robot. Dr. Robot.
What do you do?
Take a moment to try to stop laughing.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one!
Why not? It worked again.
Hating on Batman.
And I don't hate Batman for the record. I hate the fandom of Batman.
Oh, cool. Okay,
That's the
that's
issue.
way more people.
It is. It's a
Dang.
lot of like actual human beings.
Were you gonna
You need to rub this crap off your neck and not smell like me. Or Wolf at all. Just start rubbing his neck and just getting like...
I am fairly certain it doesn't matter what I smell like at this point.
To a feline, you have wolf's piss on you.
I'm just gonna point at my feline eyes.
I have some time.
You've just tuned in. We had the brilliant idea while we were fishing at the Dark Moon Festival.
Oh, jeez.
To do a dungeon with fishing poles equipped. Because why not? And so we drank all of the alcohol in our bags, and we equipped our fishing poles and our aquatic pets, and we went to do a dungeon.
I feel like I need to put that. So this was the end of our epic tale. What holds for next week as the heroes set sail? We may find our family, we may find where things start. All we know is to follow our heart. So our heroes set forth to pillage and to wander in the magical continent of wonder. We have one more question. I hope to not blunder. The question for you, dear friends. Do you wonder? Thank you, guys. Indigo Connect. Hello, everybody! Welcome. It is Friday night. It is time for a little journey to Neverland. It is your good buddy Scribe. Hopefully, everybody's having a good night tonight. We've got a few announcements before we kick off with episode 2. I'm so excited. We've got a merch store. And I'm going to keep announcing. Hello, I didn't see you there.
I love that you're not even drinking. Yeah.
This feels oddly seductive. Hi, we've got merch. This is a cool little water bottle that we can have, and it's you can fill it with water, whiskey. I don't know why I'm listing liquids to you. But there's lots of t-shirts and fun things you can buy. Boom, Indigo Chameleon. There you go. So it is your only chance ever in the world to buy good karma. So go visit the merch store, and we'd love to have you represent the brand and things of that sort. We've got a packed schedule of fun stuff coming down the pipeline this week. Tonight is Friday. Saturday night we are usually dark, but who knows? Indigo Chameleon may be getting that World of Warcraft itch and may
I missed him on Thursday.
and may jump on. And due to a weird work schedule, I may be joining her. So that could be.
That's right.
Yeah, so we may be jumping on and playing a little
I
World of
heard there's a
Warcraft.
cream for that itch.
Yeah, there's a little. You give me more of that gold. Yeah, that's going to be happening then. Sunday night, we still have to do the recruitment for that. We're playing a brand new card game that we found that is Silicon Valley Startup, where essentially it's like snake oil, but you get a whole bunch of cards and you have to pitch this idea to an investor. which is now sounding vaguely familiar as a speech we just listened to. And then the investor, the twist is during the speech, at any point, the investor pulls a card and changes. Well, it's like, yeah, but are you incorporating this? And they're like, yeah. And they just start talking about how they're incorporating that into the element, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun. And it's there was this huge contest. We'll talk about the history of it, but somebody won like $50,000 for pitching the weirdest idea that they possibly could, and Shark Tank was like, cool. So yeah, we'll get into the history of it, but that is Sunday night. A little return to the board game side of things. Monday night. I had something in my mind. I was like, yeah, we'll homebrew and brew with you, or we'll do something like that. And then here on Indigo Chameleon, we like to see a good idea and then just go, yeah, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna do that. Monday night we have a brand new show debuting on the channel. What's the name of that show?
2 chairs only.
Two chairs only. 2 chairs only. The co-founder. One of the co-founders.
Billy, I need you to say that again.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. One of the co-founders of the Indigo Chameleon, the one that's not Blue Lizard or Ritter guy, is going to be doing a show, and it's called 2 Chairs Only. And during the show, Tim, one of the co-founders of Indigo Chameleon, is going to be interviewing one of the players from one of our games.
Founder of...
Yeah, of Wonder and Neverland and things of that. So he will be interviewing someone very special here on the channel, but I want to let him be in charge of that. So tune in Monday for that. Tuesday night we get back into Wonderland epicness, where we had a character death. It's our first one, and it was really rough. But honestly, with the help of the audience and the help of the other players, they beat that DC by 1, and Grim is back, and now Nyx is going to hell to track down his long-lost love, Flint. So it is the start of a 3-campaign arc where we actually have some Dwarven Forge we're going to introduce into the mix. So stay tuned for some fun stuff that we're doing with our map.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. So tune into that. Wednesday night we are dark, but you can always find us over on the Plastered Dragon. Indigo, Chameleon, and myself do a game called Wicked. Something Wicked This Way Comes over there. Thursday night will bring us to World of Warcraft, where we get back into World. We're not doing another D&D 101 this week.
I think it's time for another Fungin.
It's a time for help us all. Which brings us to Friday, which is Neverland.
First person jump.
That finishes announcements for this evening, and brings us into Neverland episode 2. When last we left this group of heroes, they had formed an odd alliance aboard a ship in a prison. Our skeletal bard, who many of the people on the ship thought would sort of be the downfall of this group of heroes, was just like, hey guys, how's it going? So we have a mermaid storm sorcerer who Kamayamaya'd quite a bit. We have a pixie who gave one of the most convincing performances I've ever seen about laying a rope on top of her as to convince someone that she was dead. We have a lost girl who is constantly finding new games.
Never boy. Excuse me.
A never boy that is playing games that every time she says, ooh, I thought of another game, that makes the DM sweat a little bit. We have a lost boy who has returned to Neverland after many years, and we have a member of the tribe who is doing her best to maintain and keep the peace, even if that means going against a group of people or a wave of people. She stands true to her convictions while looking for her people and the signs of Never. Feeling that Peter was on his way back, the Neverland had again woke into life. Now we ought to use the pluriperfect and say wakened, but woke is better. And that word was always used by Peter. Not as an actual scripture or from the book. Scripture from the book. The good book. Peter Pan.
Never.
Good book of Never. So Heroes, it's been quite an adventure, and you guys are all settling down for a long rest. Here's how we are going to handle things. I'm going to let you guys sort of handle things however you would like. However, I don't know if any of you don't require some sort of long rest. So, you split this up however you like. You need 8 hours. You need 8 hours of rest in order to. Some of you need other things, but for the most part, you need 8 hours of rest. What I would recommend you do is split it into when you have everybody in the party, splitting it into groups of 4-hour shifts and doing a 12-hour rest, but having 2 people keep watch, 2 people keep watch, 2 people keep watch. But you split that up however you see fit. So if you would like to do that, I need to know who is taking the first watch.
I'll take first.
First? Who is taking? Somebody is going to be keeping watch by themselves.
I'll do it by myself. I'm a big, strong storm sorcerer.
All right. Quartz. Everybody else sort of rests for the evening. Cal, you guys watch as he digs a hole close to the camp, and it's just like, hey, what's up? And then just buries himself in this hole.
Do you need help?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
What is this game?
It's hide and seek, except I hide for 8 hours and you don't come find me.
That doesn't sound fun. Especially since I know
It's
where you're
fun
hiding.
for me.
Yeah, we already know where you are because you're in the hole. That's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Good night, bye.
Have fun with your game.
I want to
He
find
needs to learn more games.
Stick it.
Absolutely. You know what?
Decorate the stick.
Give me an investigation check. You give me a, I don't know, sleight of hand. I can be convinced of anything here. I don't know what. There's no stick decorating. Performance.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, we're doing performance? Wait.
No. You're looking for a stick.
I did a terrible job. It's a 10.
Yeah, I got 15.
15.
It's gone.
You find a decent stick and stuff like that, and then you're like, oh, cool, and you stick it in the ground, and it's hard to find things like you find like leaves and little vines and things like that.
This is like the coat hanger sculpture in Charlie Brown, where it's just like, it's terrible.
I made the duck blue because I wanted to see the blue duck.
This is so we know where Cal is when he's sleeping. This is Cal stick.
Well, it's a grave marker.
Cal, you have a beautiful stick headstone. Sort of coming
I
up
appreciate it.
which I'm sure will grow and grow as people continue.
No one's gonna know that it's me.
We're taking the stick everywhere.
Anybody doing
talking
anything
stick.
before they settle down to rest for that evening? No? Okay. You guys settle down for a rest. You
Do I still have my familiar?
You do.
Scritch? Okay, I couldn't remember if he went away or not.
Scritch.
Okay, so he's still around.
Yes, you
Then
still
yeah,
have
good.
Scritch with you, and Scritch sort of pedals up and give me perception checks, Quartz, as you sort of look out and.
Nope. 5.
As night falls on Neverland, you are not too far away that you can't, if you listen carefully, hear the soothing sounds of the waves, sort of beckoning and calling to you. And it's hard. For the first time in a long time, you're not sleeping next to the water or in the water, and it's odd that you're experiencing a siren song as a mermaid, but it calls to you. I am the one. Sorry. But for the most part, your watch goes uninterrupted. Who is she waking up for the second watch?
Before I wake up anyone, I'm just gonna kind of talk to just talk out loud to the poised on, and being like, hey, I don't know why the mermaids are siding with pirates right now, because we're usually very free, but I guess we're not. If you have any insight on that, that'd be great. Or some type of sign. I know I was a really good follower before, but I don't think I have anyone anymore.
As you sort of address your prayers to the poised dawn, the god of the sea in this particular area, you wait for a sign, and the smells of the ocean and the sounds of it, you still hear it off in the distance, intermingled with light snores that come from the rest of the people in the party. You begin to give up, like maybe you're just not meant for a sign or anything like that, until a small bird flies into the clearing and just sort of lands on a branch close by to where you are. It doesn't really say anything, it just looks like it's looking around for some sort of food, and it cocks its head and looks over towards you and flies down at your feet.
Okay, that's weird. Haven't liked bird before. I don't have like any food. I would give it food, but I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, bird. Okay, bye, bird.
The bird just sort of flies away. So take that what you will.
What a meaningful conversation.
What a meaningful conversation. Hi. Bye. I'm gonna
Trust the force.
Oh, God.
Quote. The bird doesn't say it.
So my 4 hours, I'm gonna wake up. So that one.
Just call her Winter. if you
Winter?
need to.
Yeah.
Desmahai, who is doing the shift with Des, or is she doing it by herself? Is anybody joining?
I'll
Is it okay to
choose
call
Thistle
you
to join
Des?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to call me Des too. Or Winter War.
Winter.
Or
Des. I'm going with
Desmahai.
Des.
Okay.
Desmahai and Thistle, you guys take a second watch. Both of you give me perception checks, or if somebody's going to take the lead on this one, they can roll at advantage. It's up to you.
No, she's.
You both
Yeah.
are independent
Oh,
enough.
but that was a nat 20.
Oh,
Good for you.
all right.
Mine's 16.
Which is also not
It's
bad.
not
Not
bad.
bad.
So the
I
two-
got 5. Let me remind you of that.
Yeah, good job.
You're never winning watch by yourself. Ever
Two
again.
of you are keeping watch, and it's sort of late at night, and you're sort of paying attention to the airs around you. Thistle, I don't know if you would stay in the camp, or you get to higher ground, or how you would go about doing watch, or.
I'm a little restless, so I'm patrolling. I'm kind of making circles around the camp.
Okay.
I don't stand in one place for very long.
Des, what about you? How would you do the same things, just sort of take opposite patrols? or-
No, I wouldn't say that I would be like making rounds. I would say that I would remain in like a neutral position in the camp and just kind of like focus and meditate on any sounds.
It's honestly been a while since you were able to be still and in nature, and it's a luxury that's hard to turn down. While you're anxious, Thistle, and sort of pacing about, Des, you just sort of like take your hands and put them in the dirt and rub them in and like smell them and just sort of concentrate on sounds and things of that sort. Because you're walking around, Thistle, you hear some noise. You're walking past a tree stump sort of on the outer perimeter, and you hear the faint sound of singing coming from the woods, and it is very late at night.
No.
It sounds like a male voice. But it's being carried on the wind. If you hadn't been walking around, you wouldn't hear it.
Am I within eyesight of Des?
Yeah,
Like,
I
do
see.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
affect her eye?
Des has said specifically she's concentrating on sound. So
Okay.
as you stop, she wouldn't hear the singing, but she'd hear
I'd
you
hear the crunch.
stop.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one of these things. I'm gonna be like,
I'm
I
gonna
want to go see.
I'm gonna go. I come up and I listen.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send Scritch to go investigate, but I'm gonna look through Scritch's eyes.
You send Scritch outward, and Scritch sort of nods his head. Give me a survival. Actually, give me survival or nature, whichever you prefer. As Scritch sort of makes his way through the underbrush. He's not a very hardy
It will
animal.
be survival.
Okay.
That's a. Ah, thank you. Good rolls tonight. 19 plus 22.
It's making up for
Making
lost
up for
time.
like the last 4 weeks.
Scritch begins to go through the brush, and the two of you stand very still. And now that she's pointed it out to you, you can hear it. And then as Scritch begins to crawl through the brush and stuff like that, what does Scritch see?
Scritch sees a human male with brown hair, scruffy beard, a scar on the side of his face. He is tied to a tree and just singing.
Yeah.
I will survive.
Deliriously sort of singing.
Yeah, Gloria Gaynor. Yeah.
How are
It
you?
has to
Oh,
be.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? Give him more rum. He's making up songs and just to pass the time. And Scritch, yeah, I think even channeling you, just sort of cocks his head. And looks at it.
Do I notice the rat?
Give me a perception check.
I mean, come on, a rat in the woods. That's
Probably.
John, your
really
first
natural.
roll.
3.
Welcome,
So,
welcome
not great.
Edwin Reynolds to the game, Classy Jedi. Yeah, you're looking around. You don't notice this little rat. That's sort of it's late at night. It's dark. And why would you like this little rat in the bushes? And
They're
stuff?
gonna be so sorry when they come back here.
So I go and let Des know what is over there very quietly. And I propose we go investigate.
I did miss something. Very clearly a pirate.
Got it. Yes.
Very clearly.
There's a sign in the tree that says
Pirate, and it's an arrow.
pirate. There's an arrow
Yeah,
pointing
exactly,
down.
yeah.
There's lightning bugs
Some
on
fireflies
it.
looking around.
I'm with Buccaneer.
There's a pirate tied to the tree and he's singing.
Then let the pirates take care of him.
I think they did.
I think they did too, so we don't need to worry about
But
it.
I really want to go see.
I know you really do, but you also want to see your friends, don't you? This is the way to do it, Faustus.
Give me an intelligence check.
Well,
We
I
just
know
leave
you're
it.
right.
It's been nice playing with you, John.
I know, right? They just leave me side to a tree.
Oh, I have a -1 to intelligence, so instead of a 12, that's an 11.
Thistle, you know that a game that they used to play was Go Get Help.
We're not
You
playing.
did it,
Get
but you
Help.
finally get Go Get Help.
I don't know what that means.
It was a game where the pirates would have somebody tied up or look like they're in peril, and they'd say, "Quick, go get help!" And you'd go get a bunch of people and show up, and it would be an ambush. They'd come out of the trees and things like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't like it help.
I don't.
The Indians and the pirates are at war.
I don't
We're
think you
all
were.
at war.
I don't think you were dumb enough. Like you'd walk by somebody tied to a tree, and you'd be like, "Quick, you must get help!" And you'd be like, like sucks to be you. Like you'd walk up. So you realize that maybe investigating and during the day might be something to do.
Okay, so we'll just wait till everybody gets up and then we'll tell them, okay. But I leave Scritch watching him the whole entire evening.
Do you channel Scritch?
When I'm resting, I'm just going to have him come let me know if something changes or something interesting
You
happens.
inform Scritch to let you know if something interesting happens, and you feel that if you listen closely, you hear the tiniest of like, "Come on." And the rat does not sleep and just watches this person all night long. And,
Can I get another perception check if he's gonna hang out there?
I will say that eventually you would see the rat that's just sort of like staring at you. It doesn't matter.
in my pocket tomorrow?
Yeah. So you basically at one point notice, and now you have an audience.
Hi. Go get help. No, but like for real though.
Scritch goes scurrying off. And comes back carrying some fruit. And just
No.
comes really close to where you are, drops a piece of fruit at your feet, which you obviously cannot get, and then comes back like a ways off.
Thank you.
Your watch ends somewhat uninterrupted, and then you wake up the next group.
Before then, can I pray for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll pray to the Father for thanks for ending the sickness. I'll pray to the Mother for thanks for a new group of trusted people to come together. And I'll pray to the child to give us some sort of insight as to where everybody else is.
This is very important, and I want you to think about this before you answer. Are these prayers out loud, or are they to yourself?
They're kind of, well, first, I don't think that she would be around anybody.
No, she because she found something, like, so she's broadened her perimeter in hopes that there's maybe 7 or 8 other singing tied to tree pirates around, and she can start
I
a
am not
band.
in any
Like,
This is the singing tied to tree pirate woods.
Yes.
I would say Casey with both. Like parts are allowed, parts aren't. Parts are
I've missed this part.
in tone they would recognize parts.
The singing tree pirate.
You it's a ceremony. Honestly, at the end of the day, like the words change.
It's taking the dirt and like sprinkling it, and then
the wind picks it up and
doing the dance.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very calming because to be able to repeat these steps and in a time where the earth is alive and you're not grabbing dead earth in your hand, like you're actually holding earth and smelling it. Like there's a sense of joy to your movements and things of that sort. You reach out with your thoughts and sort of pay thanks to everything that you have been given and sort of acknowledge and ask for a sign. Nothing immediately is granted to you. Give me a perception check.
The same damn bird just flies right over.
It's the same bird.
This bird loves you guys.
That'll be a 2, unless you want me to roll.
Yeah,
No,
bird.
Hang on, not 2, 12.
you feel content. You feel happy, but there's no sort of outward sign. But you
Just like a presence, like
yeah, like a
spiritual
warmth,
presence.
you know, and you don't know whether it's just that like if something's connecting to you, or it's just the joy of being able to complete the ceremony. You know. Cool. The two of you rest, and Cal is woken up, and Nell is woken up for the 3rd watch.
You knock on the stick.
Do you
It's the graveyard.
do you two inform them of the pirate tied to the tree?
Yes, but
But we sternly.
you're probably going to be giving it different inflections for different reasons. But go ahead and say your version of it.
Oh, please do tell.
We have to convey. There's a pirate around these parts.
Okay.
We don't want to mess with him. Not until we're all ready and until we're all present, because we don't want to end up with anything bad.
You better not talk to him before I'm awake to be able to go talk to him too.
What if I talk to him, but my talking hurt him?
No, you better not interact with him, because I want to go over and I tell Scritch that if they come over there, that's something interesting and he needs to wake me up.
Does the rat do
we
anything
gonna get
visible
rat
that
out
is
by
like
mouse?
getting information?
The rat who's like eating fruit and just sort of like, you feel like he's now swaying with you as you're singing songs, stops and looks up like he's hearing something.
What is it, boy?
And then just turns away.
The silent treatment. Okay.
Fine.
99 bottles.
Cool.
Thus far, the only one he's bonded with is a rat.
In true pirate fashion.
First of all, the only one I've interacted with is a rat.
Is a rat.
The fact that I've bonded with them, I'm doing fine.
You know what?
I'm 1 for 1 right now.
John, just for fun, have Edwin give me an animal handling check. She's got control over this thing. I want to see if you can reach past them.
Familiar.
I know. I'm just
10.
Cool. Yeah, everything's great. Sort of like, just in case, you know, he cuts through the magical. You two do your watch, and you've been warned.
I stole your familiar.
Any sort of conversation that happens that night?
Huh?
Do you two talk, or is it just sort of a quiet? How does Nell keep watch?
She is going. Well, she would be asleep in probably like a hibiscus bush.
Yeah.
It's about 5 feet.
Sure.
up,
Yeah.
And a little flower.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. So you're just sort of keeping watch from
I'm
the.
like. I want to go see the pirate, but we'll get in trouble.
Calcium.
Yes. I guess because like if the pixie's not gonna go do anything, he won't do anything either.
Well, I'm not mad about it.
I know, me too.
Pixie's the Mortal Kombat.
we're having an issue. But I'm gonna while I'm watching, just to kind of keep himself distracted, he's gonna tinker around with like the charlatan's dice and just kind of because he's got the feel for him, he's just gonna kind of throw them and just see what happens, and something to pass the time, and kind of something for him to focus on.
Sure. You spend a little bit of time, and occasionally this is what you hear. Now you'll hear just over and over again, and you're able to control the numbers that show up, correct? Like the charlatan size. So you spend some time just randomly rolling and just getting a feel for the dice, and then you start doing trick shots where you throw the dice off a tree and see if you can get on a roll in front of you and stuff like that. You go like this, you like put one in your mouth and you shake the skull.
Exactly.
Full oogie boogie. Like,
exactly.
I start laughing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What do we have here?
Yeah, you spend a little bit of time. Give me percentile dice.
85. Not too bad. It's not 100, but it's 85.
It's a good thing it's not 100.
Oh God! Don't roll on it.
I turned to dust.
I'm not ready.
Oh God.
Okay. Okay. Strangely appropriate. You harken back. You have one of your memories.
Okay.
With an 80 and 5, that unlocks that, and you remember this weird time that you were pulling odd jobs for one of the cooks on one of the ships, and an odd experience that you had with a fellow pirate, where the two of you were sort of coming up into the crew, and you were tasked with catching food, dinner. Like the ship sort of came into the woods, and they sent the two of you as your buddy Edwin, and you went off and had to catch this pig that had been spotted off, and you guys spent the majority of the day sort of tracking down this pig, and you never caught it, but you went back with full flagons of rum, and when you came back, the rum was gone. You didn't have anything, but you found this like cache of pineapples. So you were so thrilled to come back with like these huge things of pineapple and like share pineapples with the crew. And the crew saw that the two of you were drunk and sort of singing, and so they sort of let it slide that you didn't catch this pig. But it was an interesting memory that you had.
Okay, cool.
That's so weird. Okay.
That's awesome.
These memories were developed by several other DMs as well. I gave some other DMs a chance to do that, including some folks from Random Encounters. Thank you guys so much. Random Encounter Productions. So your watch goes. Give me perception checks. The two of you, please.
Perception.
13.
Yeah.
21.
Worse.
Near the end of the shift, right as you're getting ready to wake everybody up and sort of go explore and stuff like that, you hear cannon fire. And you don't catch it, but he catches it. There's cannon fire coming off in the distance, and it's hard to triangulate whether it's like, did we just come from this place? Did we come? But there's cannon fire coming from a particular direction.
Okay. Was it in the direct? I mean, I guess we won't be able to, but cool.
With one last roll of your charlatan dice on the ground, you wake up the rest of your party.
Yes, and I'll tell, and at that point, be like, "Hey, weird that you guys said that it was a pirate, because I just heard cannon fire.
Why is that weird?
Pirates, cannon.
We just escaped.
Yeah, they kind of go together. So
over there.
The pirate we saw was on land. Why would there be a cannon on land?
Was there also a skull and crossbones flag? Because that'd be weird too.
That'd be weird too.
Now it looks
Did
like
you
she
see
has
the whole
to
of the ship
pee.
just in the middle of the trees?
Oh, yeah,
Just go see the pirate.
pirate.
I go. She said yes. I'm going.
All right.
Okay, we're running off towards the pirate.
Who gets there first?
Me.
You are berating this rat. You know what I mean? It's like, we have shared so much.
I cannot believe you treat me like this. I feel so betrayed. Don't look at me.
The rat just continues to look. After a while, the rat scurries off into the brush.
Oh, I see how it is. Yeah, you just go on.
Nell, you fly into the clearing. I imagine, Thistle, you're not too far behind. As Scritch sort of like crawls into a little pocket and just immediately passes out.
I don't want to go into the clearing. I want to go just right to the bushes.
Sure. Give me stealth check then, please, as you...
That's a 5.
So you are tied up to the tree, and then you hear, Guys, go to the bushes. I see him. He's definitely a pirate. Like from the bushes. And then you hear
I'm
another.
beginning to think I'm being watched.
No. I step out into
Never
the
mind.
clearing.
You step out into the clearing. You see a sort of bushy-haired girl. She's got the look of one of the Never Boys to her, and if you look carefully, you will see a little rat tail sticking out of a little pocket that she has on her.
I'm gonna fly up onto
I
her
feel
shoulder.
so betrayed.
You're the singing pirate.
Well, I'm a pirate. I don't know if I'm the singing.
Oh, you
pirate,
spent
but
all
a
night
couple of them
singing.
are.
You're the singing pirate.
Well, I don't like your tone, young lady. Where are your parents?
Oh my gosh, you're such a pirate.
That's when you come out.
And then I come out.
Edwin, but before you stands another gentleman who's wearing pirate garb, and you sort of look down from the bottom and then look up, but he is devoid of skin and organs. He is a pristine white skeletal figure standing in front of you.
Would 2 and 2 click?
Yeah, you recognize him immediately.
Oh, I'm dead.
No, that's me. It's me.
You're a little late to join the group. I think
You
they
can
run
both
off.
be dead.
Oh, yeah, no,
Do you want to be dead though?
definitely.
I mean, I don't think I'm
As you
dead.
go to
But do
gather
you
your
want to be
things-
dead?
Hang on. As you go to gather your things, there is a it looks like a bunch of leaves that are tied together in a satchel next to where you're sleeping.
Okay, do I recognize it from the party at all?
No.
No. I'm gonna open it.
Inside is a collection of dried meats, dried fruit, a little container of water, and what looks to be a small wooden figurine of a wolf.
Okay.
Ooh, you got
Do
a
I
present.
recognize how it was tied up or anything of that sort?
There's nothing about it. It looks like it
So
was
it-
done haphazardly.
So it's not like my thing. Like it's not from my people.
You're not sure.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
But it's definitely close to you.
I tie the parcel back up, and I somehow. What do I have? I just decide to kind of carry it over my shoulder. and
Sure.
stand over.
I'm just now getting up.
Everyone is gone. You wake up and everyone has left, and you are just stretching and waking up. Cut back to the pirates.
I'm just saying, just because you're dead doesn't mean that doesn't prevent me from also being dead.
I mean,
You're just being very selfish right now.
You've got
with
a
death.
point,
You're just
but
being very selfish. Is all
I
I'm
sent
saying.
Scritch to bite him.
Okay.
Like just a little nibble bite.
Okay. You are.
He's all tied up. He can't do anything.
You
I
are
just want to see if he's dead.
You are currently tied up, and Scritch, the rat, your bestest buddy in the whole wide world that you've been singing songs with all night, climbs up your leg and gives you just a little love nibble.
Hey, Rattykins. Ow! What the?
I just wanted to see if you were dead. If you were dead, would that hurt?
I don't know. I've never been dead before.
Me either.
Hey, would that have hurt?
probably.
That doesn't help anything.
Well, then we
Now
didn't
you
want
have to not bite
anything.
him.
Okay, so what is going on?
If I see her leave, I'm gonna follow her.
Were you sent here by the?
I
Send
am
here,
on
no.
my way into the direction, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into the
Because I
clearing.
still don't know what's going on, so I'm just following you.
Yeah, you're not
tell
sure.
you.
Your crew got pissed because you were.
They don't normally tie me for trees this long.
Yeah. Because they found out that you were siphoning gold, from everyone. And those were your words.
A
You were
guy's gotta make
stealing.
money.
You were stealing gold.
Yeah, well,
Like,
of course I was stealing.
yeah.
I'm a cleric. Can I do like some sort of check to figure out if he's dead or not? I mean, is that something a cleric should be able to do?
Sure.
Can I do a medicine check maybe?
Okay. Walk. How close are you getting?
He's all tied up, right? He can't grab me?
Sure.
Okay. Do I have to touch him to do a medicine check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just got down here all over.
That was a 9.
Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Feeling
please.
very violated right now.
The two of you.
That was a 20, not now.
The two of you will walk into this clearing as a snare goes to catch her foot that was close to where he was by the tree.
She was saying she wasn't going into
I
the
was
clearing.
You're not gonna go?
into the clearing.
Okay, so just
I am, 'cause
just
they're
her. You see the snare almost grab her, and she just sort of jumps out of the way. She's like, "Bad game," and like falls backward, and the snare like goes up into the tree.
That was sneaky.
That wasn't me. I'm tied up.
Is there a way to get to where he is without crossing the clearing?
Sure. Give me a survival check.
I'm gonna walk up and be like, oh good, you caught breakfast. And just smile at
What's he doing?
it.
Not 20.
You might be dead now. Sorry, man. I can't help you on this
You
one.
can sneak up, but you have to sneak up and be directly behind him rather than clearing.
I mean, he's tied to a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's looking forward and addressing the group, and you kind of come up behind, right?
Rad.
Yes.
So I'm gonna come up behind him, and I witnessed her almost get hit by the thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him with a dart in the arm.
Ow! Why are people hitting me?
Sure. Give me an attack roll at advantage as he is incapacitated.
Why are people hitting and stabbing me? I have done nothing.
Me neither.
You watched her touch and then get close, and there was a snare in front of him that sort of caught, and then you watch as
That's a 21.
Des Baha'i gets
Yeah.
close.
Definitely get it.
And roll attack damage on this sort of
Thistle,
dart.
darling. Thistle,
I
can
don't
you
know
step
if it
back a bit,
has-
please?
Nell, you're freaked out because everybody just started attacking the tied up pirate.
I don't want you to get caught in the snare.
I don't like
That's all.
it. What if there's another snare in another spot?
Can you come stand next to me?
That
I'm gonna look
doesn't
around
sound
this
like
tied up pirate and see if there's any other snares
Do
around.
whatever you like, just be careful.
Give me investigation check as you sort of look around the area.
Okay, cool.
I am watching the child to make sure
I don't
that
want
they
this
don't
thing.
get
Nell's
hurt.
just sort of
Pirate!
Yes. What?
Ooh, investigation?
Yeah.
I'm 21.
Go ahead.
What's your name?
My name is Edwin.
Why are you tied up?
You'd have to ask the people that tied me up.
Who tied you
No,
up?
no. Why are you tied up? Don't deflect. You tell me. Hold on.
I might have acquired gold in a less than legitimate fashion.
Elaborate.
I feel that I am being quite concise.
You stole it.
What did you roll on damage, Jade?
I'm trying to find the
Yeah,
damage
did you kill
for
me?
dart.
Do a D4. Do a D4 for
Lit.
your dart,
Cool.
and then add your
Yeah,
dex modifier to that.
Yes, yeah. I
Okay.
again, I
an 8.
illegitimately acquired gold.
8 points of damage.
Yeah, that sounds right.
As
This is a little
Des
math
Baha'i,
damage.
you guys watch as Des Baha'i sort of comes up behind him and stabs him in the arm.
Is there any way I can take away some of the damage and just give him like some sort of
Like a sucker punch
like
in the arm?
sickness-y thing, like a
Wow, you don't just want to stab me, you want to poison me.
What is the intent?
I saw her get strung up by one of his little booby traps, and I was
Not
like,
my
he's
booby trap.
gonna hurt us.
Give
So
me
I'm
give
trying
me an
to
intelligence
incapacitate
check.
As much as I'm very much for attack first, ask questions later, he is tied up.
And then
with
tell
an
him the game's
intelligence.
over.
I'll say that you pulled your punch. You pulled your punch, and you only take 4 points. So heal back for 4. Nell is having a conversation with him, so keep going now.
Okay,
Okay, you stole things. Yes or no?
I mean, it's part of the
Yes
job.
or no?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. We need to be more direct. We're
Okay.
gonna help you.
I
And the
mean,
problem is
literally all the help I need is just quick knife to cut through the ropes, and I'll
Why
be out of
sh-
your way.
Here's another question. Why should I?
Because you're a good person, and you wouldn't leave someone tied up to a tree.
Hold please. You said you know.
Follow me on this. By the way,
I
does,
can't.
20,
I'm
does
tied to a
23
tree.
does 23 get anything on the investigation? Or excuse me, 21?
Yeah. You. What did you get on yours? Your.
My intelligence? Did
Yeah.
you say intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay. Not high.
That's right.
21 on that on the intelligence on the investigation.
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 You don't see any other traps in the ground, but you look down and you do see a bunch of different like boot prints,
Okay.
like in the ground as you're sort of looking around the area. You don't see any other snares. You realize that there was probably one, and this one was in case he managed to get out of his
It was not
bind
for anyone else.
and be like, "Ha, suck it! Oh no!" And then get brought up. You realize that this is something that pirates used to do to teach a lesson, and that there is the possibility that whoever left him here could be coming back soonish. But there's no way of gauging if it was like, let's wake up, let's have a, little breakfast, and then come down, or if they are coming right now.
Especially since, is there any fresh boot prints, or probably a boot print just from when they showed
Hard to
up?
tell because you guys have been traipsing around the area at this point.
So, how long
does he look like he has anything on his person?
Are you gonna? He's wearing pants.
Yeah, go ahead, violate me some more.
Tell us
fine.
this
It's
information.
fine.
Go ahead.
Tell us this.
Oh, so, yeah, I get it, come on, it's okay. Story building, it's fun, thing. So,
you guys are insane.
Do you
Welcome.
follow
Quite
me with this?
possibly.
It's okay, it's okay. Look at the skeleton. This isn't the weirdest thing that's happened today, it's fine.
I've had a
You're getting threatened by a pixie. You can talk to the skeleton.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Can I roll intimidation?
You want to roll intimidation?
I want to intimidate him.
How are you intimidating him?
Just poke on her.
You gonna give him the evil eye? Okay, give me an intimidation check.
That's a 12.
Can I give her advantage on it by...
She doesn't need advantage.
I am on her shoulder.
He
By-
chooses.
by
I choose to be
using-
intimidated. I'll be intimidated.
Okay, I was gonna use thaumaturgy to make her voice way booming louder.
I don't know
Do
if
that.
you want
Do that.
Is that advantage?
Yeah.
It's a 12. It was a 12.
The pixie looks at you and she's like, "Ah!" and just does this loud scream. All of the birds in the immediate area like take off from the trees. The area gets very silent, and then you hear what sounds to be like another cannon shot.
Perception and listen where it's coming from.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
The ocean?
With
Alright, 22.
You start scoping out the area, and as you look, you sort of peek behind the tree where Dez is like, "Should I? You want me to?"
No,
Again, and it's like,
no, Sam.
but as you look,
It's just in case.
There's no more traps. It's just him.
as you look behind Dez, you see a ship. The cresting, like not too far away from you guys. Like you guys walked inland, but it's large enough that you see it, and you see, or probably hear the faint sound of voices.
Do we recognize the ship from the shipyard?
You do not. It's not
not.
Hook's ship.
Do I recognize the ship of the voices?
You are a little preoccupied at the one
I-
going
okay.
full Christian Bale. Where is she?
Okay, decision time, folks. We need to take him with us or go.
They're here.
I have a good spell, and I just learned it, and I love it, and I was so excited about using it.
Do it.
What?
Do it now.
Let's stop torturing the pirate.
I can make him follow us.
Think of
Maybe
death.
I can force him to follow us.
Maybe he'll
That
come
way
willingly.
run away.
Maybe he'll come willingly.
Or maybe he'll say he's coming willingly, and then he'll trick us, and he'll run away, but I can make sure he follows.
He's scared of a pixie. He's not going anywhere.
We can just cut a bit
Just
of the rope.
kill me.
Done.
This is insanity.
Will, let's move.
Do you know why you're stuck here?
He stole.
Because I'm tied to a tree.
He stole. That's all we know.
You got caught too many times stealing on a pirate ship.
No, he stole, and then it hits you. He stole from pirates.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, he good.
If he stole from pirates,
He's good.
does that mean he's a good guy?
Yeah.
No, that makes him more of a pirate than a pirate.
He's the piratiest pirate who've ever pirated.
To be
We
fair,
do not want the pirateest
And that means that Lost Boys are bad.
He would
I'm making
download a
an
car.
executive decision.
Because
I'm
Lost
grabbing
Boys
a knife
still
and
a
cutting him loose.
I never said they weren't.
That's what I'm saying.
The most
So, all the
beautiful.
Lost Boys?
The most beautiful woman that you think you've ever seen in your entire life. She's got blue skin, like these scales, and this sort of like this pink like skin and sort of stuff. Goes over and cuts through the ropes holding you, and just sort of stands there.
If you run, I will eat you.
God.
Okay.
Inland, let's go. I'm turning around.
Quartz turns around and walks away.
Am I allowed to walk?
Yes, follow.
Would you
Oh,
like
follow. Okay,
would
that
you
was
like
not
a-
clear.
Do
I
we really
apologize.
want him and all of the hordes of pirates following us as we try and find our people who just recovered from being sick?
I mean, to be fair, that one guy that went in the forest with the little one hasn't come back yet. It might be eligible to have another person with us.
Also, he's a pirate and he's pretty good too. So
And also, this is an interesting thing.
And it's 5 against 1. If he tried to hurt us, we can just kill him.
but you've been good to us.
They're having this conversation in front of you, and she's like, I imagine she's gesticulating, and she's gesticulating like she's got a dart. She's like, let's just take him out now, and she's like, we can just kill him later if we want to, and like everybody's sort of talking, and she's like, this will be a fun game, and she's like sharpening her knives as well, like. As you do you take a step away from the tree?
I sort of stand up. I check for my gear.
You don't have any sort of. You've got the regular gear that you may have started with, like a weapon and stuff like that.
But I do have a weapon.
As you move away from the tree, a small slip of paper that was placed behind your back.
Do
All right,
you see it?
I'll pick it up.
Who's closest to him? You two.
Yeah, I'm with her.
Yeah, you were a little ways in front. She's right behind him. She's right in front of him. She's like, we can just kill him later. Like, we got leftovers. You two see this small slip of paper that was like almost like they tied him to the tree, but they pressed this up against his back while it was there.
Who sees it?
You two and you.
Oh,
I got it with
Can I
my
catch
hand.
it?
Okay.
You don't see it.
All 3 of us say we catch it.
3 of you give me dexterity saving throws as the 3 of you immediately go.
Checking for traps.
Nat
Would I be close
20.
enough to see it?
Nat 20.
8.
Nat 8.
No.
You guys are like, hey, a pizza, and she's got it up. And
Okay. That works.
it's a map.
Hey, that's mine, probably.
If he's like heading towards me, I just like elbow him.
I'm not heading towards any of you. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't approach any of you if I was paid to.
Edwin's like, hey.
You're all insane.
Okay.
I got 2 gold.
It's a map.
It's a map of Neverland.
Yeah. Give me an investigation check.
That's probably my property. Just
good.
letting you know.
You're saying probably. It's probably not yours.
Probably it might be.
You're looking around.
It's on me.
Some of the sites look familiar to you. I mean, it's written in it's less words and more like it's sort of somebody was hurriedly drawing pictures and doing little dots to go from here, drawing pictures going from dots to here. Occasionally, the pictures were replaced with the place we went to when we decided we hate Tuesdays. And then...
Does this look familiar to me at all?
So you sort of like, hey, does that look like something? And you sort of look, and you don't, but then she's holding the map up and looking at it, and you're trying to see, like, is this a map to my people? Is this a map to this? You're looking at the map, and you're trying to go like this, and then you stop and walk around to the other side and look at the back, and it's, there's a handwritten note, and it says, Edwin, I hid the treasure. I'm hoping you get out in the middle of the night because you're so cunning, and I'm hoping you don't spend the night singing to yourself like you did that one time. But I figured the best place to hide the map was with you, so that over the course of the night you could escape, get the treasure, and we can set off with it. Your friend, the real Edwin Reynolds.
Whoops.
And you watch as he's sort of reading this and sort of mouthing out the little pieces and things like that. As you turn around, you now read it, and you see the map and its locations that you're familiar with. Everybody give me investigation as you turn the map around. And
Including me, or?
Including you. You're turning the map around to read the note written to him.
So do I roll for investigation?
No, because you already did that.
Yeah.
You rolled a 6 on it, and you're like, what?
16.
10?
3.
3.
7. Oh wait, no, that was a 9. Sorry, just kidding.
9?
16.
16.
Thank God.
Do you recognize certain spots? Everybody kind of recognized certain spots. I mean, that you spending all of this time playing all the games, exploring the island as much as you explored, looking for a cure. You see certain things that stand out. And of course, it's sort of logical things. It's all like a waterfall here, or like a sort of a quarry here. You, however, look at this thing and you're like, huh. And you're seeing the last place, or one of the last places on this map, is a lagoon. And you guys know that there was nothing alive in this lagoon. Like, mermaids avoided it, Lost Boys avoided it, Never Girls avoided it, the tribe avoided it. No one really knows why. You avoided this particular spot because people who went didn't come back.
So,
she'll look at me like
I'm walking over to her and I'm pointing at the lagoon. We don't go there, ever. People who go there don't come back.
You acknowledge that.
Is that the Black Lake?
Is that the Black Lake?
You didn't know it as such, but her people knew it as the Black Lake.
We just called it the lagoon and we didn't go there.
What did the Never Girls call it?
Death Lake.
What did the Fae call it?
No.
just
no.
Okay. The sounds are getting a little louder as you guys are all in this clearing, sort of poring over this map, and they're coming closer. Right now, you're sort of blocked by the trees and things like that. You could set forth if you wish, or you can stay here. But I'm warning you now, as your DM, your good buddy Scribe, that the next words out of my mouth may very well be roll initiative. So if you plan to go forth,
right now.
Let's head back to where we were previously making camp to elaborate on what we next need to choose.
I think we should talk and walk. Because if we
following
go a
you,
few
or-
way over there, they're still going to find us.
I have walking snacks such as meats and food.
Walking snacks.
Walking
Let's go.
snacks.
Walking snacks.
I want to go last
What is happening right
and cover up our tracks.
Darling, dear.
okay. So you guys set forth, and I love this imagery of Desma High being like, "It's okay, I've got walking snacks," and everybody's like, "Well."
She looks like Dad.
Yeah, she looks like that. She's like very pale skin, and everybody's
I
like,
have snacks.
well, hello, new mom. and she walks off, and you guys sort of follow up. I don't know what this would be, so I'm open to suggestion here. If you want to make this a survival, if you got a high and you want to just like sort of
Nature?
I will say yes. If you want to make this a nature check.
Performance.
I could be nature or survival. Nature, you're sort of like, and some leaves here to cover this, and some sticks, and a nice collage.
It's 15.
Okay. Yeah, you watched. Nell is sort of flying behind and stuff like that, and she is trying to cover your tracks away from this spot, using different leaves and sticks and flowers and things of that sort to sort of mask where you're headed.
As we walk back to camp, I'm gonna talk to the pirate dude and just tell him the memory. I'll be like, hey, just follow me on this. This might sound weird, but do you remember? And then go into what the memory was, going out and trying to find the pig and coming back with pineapples and rum and stuff along those lines.
You remember Cal?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So I'm not going crazy.
So have you been? You've been better, I would imagine.
Hey man, I'm not even sure how I got this way.
I'm not sure how you got that way either. So
Yeah, you've always never been the one to think it's okay.
I'm gonna send you something that
what?
you remember about Cal that he doesn't remember. So you can choose to share this if you see fit. As you guys make your way towards the camp that you had, and after a bit of time, it looked like you've covered your tracks, but you realize that if you could hear him from the camp, there's a good chance that if you guys talk loud, they could hear you.
Maybe we should follow the map.
We do. We don't even know what this map is. I thought we were supposed to be finding our family.
We are supposed to be finding our family. I don't see what going to Black Lake will do for any of us. I don't need gold.
Do we know
Do
what
any of
direction
you?
to go to look for your family?
Inland.
And where does
inland.
But does the map show anywhere going inland other than this lagoon?
We've all been
The
on this
Black
island.
Lagoon
Don't
is
we know
For a very
Is
long
inland?
time.
the Black Lagoon is inland.
So
then we just head inland, and on the
Yep.
way, if we want to stop by the Black Lagoon, if we so choose, the Black Lake is
why
there.
don't we follow
I'm
the
just
map?
trying to figure out where we're going first, because where are we going first? We're gonna find the Never Boys. Are we finding the tribe? Are we? I don't know what to do with you. Are we finding the Pixies? Are we going to Skull Rock, where my family is? Where are we going?
Whenever we camped, were we Where exactly were we on in Never?
Sure. Right now, you are on the outer eastern edge of there. This is where that giant claw was. You saw the picture that I posted before. As far as you know, you are on the outer eastern edge of Neverland.
What would be the closest? Do we know with the map?
With the map the way it is, after if you guys take a little bit of time, I would say you take like 5 or 10 minutes. By order of the captain, John.
Okay. Do I know
Read this message.
Do I know why?
No one did.
That's weird.
But that's why you went, because you were like, oh, by proxy, like, okay.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Was he aware or no?
No.
Alright, I'm gonna not share that information.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys,
That's it, you're dead.
the 6 of you.
Eat him.
The 6 of you go over to that sort of
You don't
spot
know
that you
there's
guys had
information I'm
before,
withholding.
where you had the fire set up, and you guys take this map out, and you're sort of like trying to figure out, okay, this is here. If the ocean is here, and we're from here, you know of several spots on the map that were close by, that were spots where the Never Boys would hang out. However, during the sickness, during the tired, a lot of these places were abandoned as the sickness moved in and sort of out and spread. People would set up little bastion points. That's what made your journeying so unique, is that you didn't hole up with your people. You were like, no, if there's an answer to be found, it's out. It's everywhere. It's not going to be found here. We have to be the wolf that hunts and brings back. We cannot sit here and be stagnant. So you realize that a lot of these places that you established before, it may not be here anymore. Like a lot of these like bastions and strongholds.
Would I know where the sickness started?
No one does.
No one.
We know where the portal is.
You know who the first death was from the tired, but the first death from the tired was a lost boy.
Do we just want? We can't just walk until we bump into someone. That's not a plan.
Yeah.
We have a roadmap.
Where does the map start?
The map starts at a small outcropping of rocks. The rocks just naturally, because over time the kids had fun like turning it into like a little bridge, and you would do King of the Mountain, where the rocks, you would kind of stand up on the bridge, and like the map starts there, and there's a little tiny X underneath there, and then you notice all of the landmarks have little tiny X's underneath, but some of them have multiple tiny X's underneath.
So why not just follow the map? Because it goes inward.
It leads inward towards the
Plus,
the
X marks the spot, and we have to find the X's.
Why not?
That's how the game works.
And if we find one of whatever this map is leading to at the first X, then we might be able to find out what it's leading to in the
Exactly.
future.
Well, and we might
that's
have a
where I
better
was going.
idea if it's going to be dangerous or not.
If it ends up at the Black Lake Lagoon, whatever, let's not go in it, please.
Okay, but think about this.
Okay.
It might be really good to go there, because let's say that somebody was hiding in Neverland and not wanting to be caught. Wouldn't the best place to go be the place that nobody goes to?
It could be the place where the sickness started. It could be the place where lots of people have died before. It is that place. We know it is.
That's less fun.
People go and don't come back.
As she says that, there is a crack of thunder. People go, and they don't come back.
That was crazy. You heard the crack of thunder outside. Just as you said that, I don't think it picked up on
It
the
didn't
microphone,
pick up on the mic,
that was insane.
but there is a people go and they
Storm
don't come
mermaid.
back. Here in Neverland, the mood of the players is a dynamic that I've been playing around with, and this seems like an appropriate time to introduce.
Oh, no.
Your imagination fuels Neverland, kids. So the mood of the room and the group can have effects on the weather itself and the creatures about you. And that's why there are certain parts of Neverland that are always snowy, or always summery, or different climates, and the land is changing because the people of Neverland are changing. You could visit the same spot over and over again, and there's a different game being played, so there's more hiding spots, or there's treasure being hid, so the ground is easier and more malleable. Because Neverland is a small island that is bigger on the inside. Okay? So as you say that, there is that crack of thunder, but I imagine the 6 of you make your way outward towards this first outcropping, the first rock outcropping. You maintain quiet as you move about. I need to know if you're moving at full pace, or are we maintaining a bit of a stealthy energy right now?
Stealth.
Stealth? Okay, everybody give me stealth. If anybody has pass without a trace, I don't think you do. Go ahead and give me stealth rolls. We're going to do collective successes and failures here, so aim high, kids.
Okay.
What?
13.
13.
22.
22.
Nat 1.
2 failures.
Yeah, because that's a 6.
3 failures.
Stealth, right?
Yep.
23.
Okay.
18.
4 successes. 3
Wow.
failures. You guys get real quiet, and there's a
Wait, how 3, 7. Got it.
Nat 1 counts as 2 failures.
Oh.
Yeah, I was wondering because I was like, I didn't.
No, Nat 1 always counts as 2 failures,
okay.
and Nat 20 counts as 2 successes. So, so you guys are walking, and you get to a point where you're like, "Hey, I think that's the rock," and somebody like covers her mouth.
It wasn't me.
And then you're like, "Shh," and you're like, "Shut up."
And of course, no one would.
We're all gonna die.
Let's play the quiet game.
Des goes, she does the sound of a bird and like a pretty good bird call, and voices that you thought were getting closer sort of head off in a different direction. It takes a little bit of time, but you come to the rocky outcropping. Let me describe this one more time. Think of a bunch of rocks sort of piled together that form a bridge up to a central point. Okay, and a kid could get to the top, and other kids could rush up, and they could push them off, and you fall into the moss. Like even if you fell from like the top of it, but this is the first sort of major point in the treasure map.
Start looking.
Yep, I want to go to the moss area.
I investigate the map again, see if there's any like clues as to where the X is in relation to.
Sure. You know what? 2 of you give me either person. You give me investigation as you're looking at the map and stuff like that. You can give me perception or investigation as you start digging through the moss.
Ooh, that's going to be 21.
21?
Mine's a 20.
You start digging through the grass, and you're like, I don't know, and you're like, no, you're on the wrong side, and you sort of like direct her over, and Nell's like, oh, cool, and she flies around to the other side, and you're digging through the moss, you're digging through the moss, and your tiny hands hit something. It's like a leather string, like it's like a pouch or something.
I'm gonna call Thistle.
Okay.
Thistle.
Would I be observing?
Yeah, you're watching as she digs and stuff like that.
I dig through. I help.
Yeah. It's a pouch. It's about yay big, and you guys are all sort of gathered around as Thistle pulls up this pouch.
Would I recognize this?
It's a nondescript, sort of brown pouch.
Generic brown pouch.
Okay.
Generic brown pouch.
I'm going to use Mage Hand to open the pouch. I'm going to put it down on the ground and use my Mage Hand to open it up.
Thistle sets it down, sits cross-legged. Boom. Like a little spectral hand pops up, and you're watching all of this. And Edwin, you've never had magic. You don't know what all of these people... You're good at being sneaky and stealthy, but all of these people are flinging around magic like it's a BOGO sale at Publix right now.
I just open it.
What if it's got an explosive trap?
Then I'll die.
But then the game is over.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Just do the thing.
You open the bag with the mage hand. The bag is open.
I look inside.
The top layer is marbles.
Are these toodles?
Could be.
Do I recognize them?
Yeah.
So I've seen these before.
You've seen marbles before.
Marble.
You've seen marbles.
You don't. It's hard to recognize unless you got your hands up on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Flies into the bag.
No. This is his. Yeah, these are Toodles. And as you dig through, as you pull, she's just like throwing marbles in the air, and you're like, kids, let's, okay. The marbles are sort of flying out, and then you hit the bottom layer, which is filled with gold pieces.
No. You stay away from this bag!
What's he doing? I don't know.
I'm yelling up from the back. Make sure that he doesn't take this.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You find 23 gold pieces in this bag.
Shiny.
And that is the first marker.
I'm gonna take a look at the map for the second marker. I've got an idea.
Second marker is a waterfall that doesn't seem to be too far away from this particular area. The X is written such that it is on the water. Like if the waterfall is going, it's a little drawing. The X is written almost as if it's like in the waterfall, like right in the middle.
Can I? Okay, so follow me on this. Can I go to the top of this King of the Mountain Hill? Can I see the waterfall from the top of the King of the Mountain Hill?
Okay. You climb to the top of the King of the Mountain thing, and you start scoping out. Give me a perception check.
Do a flip.
I want to lace the bag back up, and I'm gonna. I want to ask this one too. Will you take this? I can't carry it.
I'll save it, and then maybe we can share the gold later. We can all split it up.
Yes, I am.
Cool. 12. It's hard, man. It's a bit of a walk. Even a 5 or 10 minute walk, it's still gonna be hard. You think you can see like the sort of the rock outcropping where it's gonna be leading, and then you hear. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh God. Dexterity save 15.
Just as you're sort of like, what the hell is that? You all look behind as this ram comes running up to the top of this thing, and just like horns going, and it looks like it's just going to knock you off, and you sort of like sidestep off to the side, and it goes running down the other side of the rock outcropping.
Does it run away?
Hmm?
Does it run away?
Yeah, it runs off into the bushes.
Just runs through. Okay.
You're just making friends everywhere you go.
That's interesting. That's a neat little thing.
Give me another dexterity saving throw.
Get off the mountain.
18.
This time, it's a little bit larger of a ram, like that just comes running in from a completely different direction. And just
Can we see this?
Yeah, you guys watch this. Like it's
Where the hell are these rams?
And then it kind of runs off, and then it's like the rule of three. It's like, do you stay up there? Like, do you?
I might as well at this point. Yeah.
You dodge the first one, and you're like a larger ram. You're like, that was fun. And then you hear, oh Jesus! As a bear with two ram's horns that are like pointing to its head goes like, and like goes running up this little like tiny rock outcropping, and like you guys are like, we should help, and then you sit and watch. Like,
Scratch is sitting there eating this food.
Dexterity saving throw at disadvantage.
Can I try to run up there and help him?
Can you? How?
Take off up the.
Give me an acrobatics or athletics check as you you go to take
I'll
off.
only roll one then in case he helps.
If there's a bear with ram's horns, would I have?
That's going to be a 21 for athletics.
A 21 with athletics. Okay, you know that you know that some of the fairies used to do this thing like, or it's like, all right, we can only use goats today, and you'd be like, got it. Now, do you got it, or are you winking because you know? I
got it.
This is a
Say that without winking. Got it.
and it's a common thing to have like the animal that looks like another, but it's like, yeah. 21.
Yeah.
You guys watch as Edwin runs over, grabs onto the edge of this thing, and sort of pulls up, and he's getting ready to like shove you. You guys are gonna do like the road to El Dorado, where it's like 1, 2, boom, push, and this thing's gonna go. So give me a dexterity save at just regular, not at
So
disadvantage.
at regular, that's a 20.
You're
Not
going to
hard
roll again. Now that you're doing it, you're not going to take the higher of those two.
No, I only rolled once.
You only rolled it
I only rolled once.
Yeah.
Okay, 20. So there's a
hard
moment where the bear, and it's just running with the ram's horns, and then he jumps up and he's like, ready on the count of 3. 1, 2, boom, and you guys just push each other, and it's a whoa, and this bear goes running down to the other side.
We're the king of the mountain.
You're on the ground.
Well.
Are you still standing up there?
No.
As you say, we're the king of the mountains, you hear this, like, one of the trees fall in the forest.
Oh,
and
You know what? You can have it.
As soon as you leave the mountain, the sun comes out a little bit, and the birds start singing, and... Yeah.
Nice sex.
Nice sex.
Do I know of any, like, camps
I
of
twirled
my
2
people that
random
used to be around this area?
Give me an investigation check, because you start looking around for any sort of camps and things of that sort.
Because
I'll say that while this was happening, you're sort of scoping out and looking for any
Nat 20.
symbols. Nat 20 again. I need to look. I need to invest in that dice roller.
Online dice roller.
Girl.
Yeah, it's called guaranteednat20.com.
Oh, sweet. That's great.
Nat20.com.
Oh, sweet. I love that site. I use that when I fight Chris. Too soon? Too soon? Are we is it too soon?
He's not even in here.
I'm supposed to be here today. It's hard because, like I said, your people would change and things like that. I will say that you find this carved into a tree.
Cool.
Just the word "this." It's like, that's weird.
Because he helps me out, I'm gonna slide him one of the charlatan dice as kind of inspiration. Be like, this can be anything you want.
How long does inspiration last?
10 minutes.
Cool. So do you sing anything? Do you do anything to give him inspiration or anything like that?
I toss him one of the charlatan dice. I'm like,
You're
want
giving him a magical item?
one of the charlatan dice.
That's a magical item.
I
Are you
know.
giving him a magical item? I need to know this.
I feel like it's not forever necessarily.
No,
I feel like
it's a-
Are you doing inspiration or are you doing magical dice?
Well, the inspiration is for the charlatan. The charlatan dice is using for the inspiration.
It's a rudimentary drawing of like 2 trees, 3 birds, but it looks like it was done in a hurry. But you realize that it's symbolic of like 2, 3. Something about that numeric.
Okay.
2, 3.
So then I'll do this. The whole onto the dice. Pick a number 2 through 12.
6.
6. Okay. Then I do it in there. I drop it out, and I have him roll 4 and a 2.
Yeah.
For the charlatan dice. Be like, cool.
You've been inspired. This is a sort of like a pirate, sort of like a gambling game. He will send you a little information about how you can use his particular. Do you have that yet?
Not till 3.
Okay.
It's a standard
Later, when you join us again, there is a gambling game with this particular bard where you can risk your inspiration to get more. But if you roll under what you rolled, you lose it all.
Okay.
It's an interesting dynamic. But for right now, just take a D6 to inspiration.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's yours.
Oh, I didn't realize I have to physically take something.
Yeah, inspiration token.
Okay,
There you go.
cool.
That is yours.
Well done,
I didn't
buddy.
realize that was what is that?
The 6.
6.
Oh, it is a 6. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Can
Give
you,
me a couple more stealth rolls, please, gang. Let's go for some successes.
can you let me know when I like
That's
stop
when
like smelling or hearing the ocean?
Yes.
Thank God. 8.
Nat 20.
Yeah.
8.
10.
10.
Oh.
6.
Oh, yeah.
6.
This is a fail because I got an 8.
8.
15.
15.
Oh.
It's
What did you roll?
Nat 20.
Oh, nice.
It's
Not my fault.
You get real sneaky and you're like, all right, here's the important thing about stealth. It's to. Do you remember the bear? That was amazing. Like everybody's talking about the bear still, and then off in the distance you hear like, "Oi, who's that?"
Do I recognize the voice?
Yeah, it's part of your career.
Guys, hide.
You remember a part of your crew, and this is the crew of Captain Avarium. Captain Avarium is he was a fine captain and things of that sort, and you realize that this was like merely a punishment, but you don't know why they're chasing you. Normally, if somebody deserts and stuff like that, the fact that they're following you this deep into the woods means that your buddy may have slipped and told him that he hid the map with you. But Captain Avarium, you know that if he finds you, that it's not going to be good.
I'm gonna use thaumaturgy.
Wait. Hold on. Can I tell how many guys there are?
I will let you look, but there's equal chance they will spot you as well.
That's kind of. It's not what I want. But it's,
but it's gonna be what
well,
you're gonna do.
Let me check. We're close.
No, I almost said it's kind of what I want because it is sort of what I want, but it's not.
Okay, what are you aiming for here?
Reverse get help.
Okay.
Where I get tied up to a different tree and be like, "Yeah, you guys just lost me," and then they spring out from the woods.
I have rope. I have something better.
Edwin goes, hey, does anybody have any rope?
I have an illusion of rope.
Shush!
Give me a performance check as Edwin very quickly tells you to tie him up with
I cast minor illusion to look like it's got ropes around it.
Cool.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
even better.
Yeah.
All right. And I just sit against a tree, like a random tree, and I'd be like, "All right, guys, be ready for attack."
Okay, give me stealth rolls at advantage as you hear Edwin say, and there's a moment where you hear this. Stealth rolls at advantage as you guys all hide, and Edwin's just sort of in providing this distraction of like being tied to a tree. What do we got?
So dumb.
I got at advantage 17.
I love this.
I was
17.
a nat 1 and a 19.
Yes.
Thank God.
18.
20.
20.
23.
23. And there's a wait. We gotta keep this like legit. And you're like, oh yeah. And you take Scritch out and you have him sit like a little ways off. He's like, what the hell? And he's like, he's just watching.
He was napping.
So, back with you again,
huh? There is a pause as everybody sort of hides off in the bushes, in the trees, and there is 4 gentlemen enter into the clearing. 3 of them you recognize as just sort of like the regular sort of like peons on this ship, but one of them is Captain Avarium himself.
Can we tell he's like
this was a bad plan.
Captain Avarium is not really hoity-toity so much as he is sort of like grizzled. He's a little bit more scarred. It looks like he's a little bit more like battle-worn.
we can tell he's like the authority.
There is no question in your mind from all of your hiding spots who is in charge. The 3 of them will walk behind him. He walks forward, and at one point he stops, and the 3 of them stop and control themselves so as not to even touch him with the way they're moving as he stops in front of you.
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
Do you still have the map?
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, you still have it?
Okay.
I can give it back.
I was about to say, I don't
want
have
it back.
That's the
Nope.
point.
You can have it.
I'm not asking from like Des. I'm asking from Jesus.
Just to make sure where it is.
Like who
Yeah,
has
just-
it?
yeah, who has the map?
It's in the chat.
Okay.
Well. Edwin, what sort of trouble have you gotten yourself into?
I went and got myself tied to a tree.
He looks back at the group, and one of them's like, and like it's like looking around. He's like, and the captain looks at this one. He's like, "You tied him to this tree? I thought you said you tied him up over there." And the guy's like, and to be fair, a lot of the trees look very similar.
It was very dark last night. I wouldn't fault them.
And the captain gets down and bends down and looks down at your feet. He says, well, where's the snare?
They left a snare?
Deception.
For the record, John, thought of that very quickly.
It is so good, I will let you make deception at advantage because you were like, they left a snare? Give me deception at advantage. You
don't trust
clever bastard.
Hold on. God. Alright.
You have inspiration?
You do have inspiration here.
Oh, yeah, use that. 10.
Alright, it wasn't a high DC. These guys are not the most competent. I think the captain looks over at you and they left a snare, and he looks back at the one that was kind of looking around. He's like, You forgot the snare as well.
Guys, this is just immature. I mean, the captain deserves better. God. He believes them.
I am covering my mouth as tight as I can.
You're like, I don't know who this guy is. He's the best damn pirate I've ever met. The captain looks over at you and he says, have you learned your lesson then?
Yeah, that it's really hard to find good help these days.
That's true. It's very true.
It is. It is true.
So perhaps we should leave you here.
If that's your decision. I respect the decisions of the captain.
There will be no battle today.
He looks over at you, and he sort of looks off into the tree line.
I might have
With a nat freaking one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna take a picture because he looks off, and I think as he looks off, there's a like Scritch runs forward and just sort of like climbs up to where John. It was like no.
That's my Ratican.
And the captain's like walking forward to where you guys freaking nat one, and it's like Ratican, huh?
Yes, sir.
Perhaps you need another night with Ratigan, and we'll come back.
If that's your decision.
It is.
Do you have any food?
We'll be back.
Hopefully
you've learned your lesson.
Do you have a time frame for when you'll be back?
Let's go. And he sort of he takes the crew and looks around, and the one that was supposed to find the tree was like, I swear it wasn't this place.
I want to do something. I want to do something that's a character thing, but it'll totally blow it.
Do it anyway.
Do it.
Do it.
Go for it.
Go for your character.
The minor illusion, I can like break through it if I want to move my arms.
Yeah.
Is the captain looking away?
Yeah, the captain's turn, and
I
this other
flip
guy.
off the guy that was supposed to set the snare.
He turns back and looks, and he sees you flip him off, and then you put your hands back behind the rope, and he looks, and he like goes to say something. He's already in so much crap in front of the tree that he like looks at you, and he's like. It's just sort of like turns around and flip you off. And follows along with the crew. Well done. Well done. Take DM inspiration because that could have gone very poorly. So you've got DM inspiration.
How much is that?
That means any roll you want to, you can make with advantage. Now it's just a.
But just once.
Yeah.
Not for.
They make their ways off in a little bit of time.
Have I done that?
As soon as that happened, Nell is going to fly straight up to his face, put my head against your forehead, and go, I like you.
Okay. I'm still scared.
A part of your heart is warmed because one of the 5 people doesn't want to kill you, and possibly 2.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That was a really good game.
Hey, maybe 3 don't want to kill you. Today was a great day.
But definitely 2.
At least 2.
At least 2.
Kill.
Just name.
Just incapacitate.
Incapacitate?
It is 9:30. Do we want to take a quick intermission and go use the restroom and get drinks, or do we want to keep going?
Let's.
Yeah, I'll take a quick break.
Quick break. Guys, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we were going to get right back in to finish this treasure hunt as best as we can. As we go explore the waterfall and then go and find the Death Lake Black Lagoon.
No.
The no. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Bye, guys. Thank you, Cass, for taking such a quick intermission and using the restroom and stuff like that. So, but we are back to continue this epic treasure hunt. As a little bit of time passes after the voices go back, you don't have to make stealth checks, but you can if you so wish.
Yeah.
The group begins to move normally about the brush, and after a bit of time, you come to this beautiful waterfall. This waterfall is such that it is there is a crystalline pool leading up to the waterfall, but it's very contained. It's not one of those like sort of spanning things. It's almost like the water's coming down off of this little mountain in just the right way, so that it's very well contained in front of you. Crystalline pool, waterfall that's sort of falling down.
Have I been to this waterfall before?
It's hard to tell. These waterfalls are somewhat common.
All waterfalls.
That's all waterfalls. I don't want to say you're waterfall racist.
Don't go chase.
Give me a history check. As you're sort of like.
That song has the worst message.
That's 13.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of looks similar because you look at the waterfall. You're like, I don't know if I remember this. And then you kind of look up and you're like, I'm pretty sure I jumped off of that. And then you're like, oh yeah, I did jump off of that. I think I broke my leg here. You're looking up and you're like, I definitely broke my leg here.
Hey guys, I definitely broke my leg here.
Do I recognize the face?
Yes, I'd say the connection that your people have to water and as being a freshwater source and sort of paying like waterfalls, natural occurrences like this that are places that you would recognize. But give me a history check, see if it bears any sort of personal significance.
If the X for the waterfall is in the center of the waterfall, I'm going to go so I'm looking at the waterfall.
20? Yeah, this place is a place that you come to meditate and
host prayer.
And host prayer and
towards the Father.
Yes,
since it's a religious place.
Very good.
And it's a physical nature thing.
Yeah.
It's a religious place. She
now,
broke her
what are
leg
you
here.
doing? What are you doing?
Are you okay now?
Oh yeah, and don't worry,
said
if
you
you
were
break your
nice.
leg, I can cure it.
Okay, good.
Nice.
I just want to make sure she's good.
Yeah, Nell looks down at your leg and you're like,
Don't look broken.
Looks fine. Okay, good.
So so if the X is in the center of the waterfall, Cal is gonna walk over so if he's like standing next to it and see if he can see the backside of water.
Okay. Give me acrobatics. It is a very thin ledge, my dude.
Oh, yeah,
you would have better luck like swimming in the pool like up to it. But if you want to like try to creep along the edge of this thing and just see if you can be like almost like limbo, like press yourself up against the wall.
Can I get in freshwater?
Can you?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Would she have tried in the past, knowing what you've told me of stuff?
She wouldn't have, because she had no need to.
Okay.
So she doesn't. I guess she doesn't know. But has it been because has anyone in her like pod been like, hey, don't go in freshwater, you get hurt?
Yeah, I mean, there's it's not a don't go in fresh water, you'll get hurt. It's don't go in fresh water, they'll probably kill you.
I'm gonna.
It's almost like don't run into the building that's on fire because like you might find like a sharp knife in there. Like no, that you just don't go into the building with fire because you'll die.
Got it.
If you break your leg though, she's got you.
You don't.
I don't know, but it could be like instant death, as far as I know.
Is anyone gonna hop in?
No.
Water?
I'll jump in the water. Sure.
Absolutely.
You sink
swimming.
like a rock. Yes! You have no skin, so like trying to find purchase and stuff, like you have no like sort of
Like
buoyancy.
in Pirates of the Caribbean when they're walking on the bottom
Yeah!
of the
He's like, I think I got and he's down, luckily it's not that deep. I would say it's about 6.5 feet.
So it's just enough that if I jump, I'd be like, oh god!
Basically, you just take your head off and you...
Can't take off my head. Can't take off my head.
Alright.
He can take off his
Yes! I can
arms.
take off my arm and be
This
like,
is the place.
this is where I'm at.
You guys watch. You're like, I wonder if we should go in the water. Like, should we get him? And then all of a sudden you see like a finger like sort of pop up. Like that's like.
There's a thumbs up, like
Oh,
Terminator
yeah.
style.
Does he need air?
He's a skeleton. I don't
What do I
think
see on the
so.
What do I see on the floor of
Give me a
the?
perception check.
See a whole lot of water. Oh yeah, I see a whole lot of water.
He
10.
has the map, and he chopped it off.
Yep. You look around. You see some fish. You see some fish. You sort of look around. You don't see anything that sort of jumps out as like a chest or anything like that. What did you get?
10.
You see like random fish. You do see a body.
Oh, good.
That is sort of like chained to a cannonball that was like, this looks like a fun spot. And this body is just sort of floating in the water, like this. Also skeletal at this point, but
friend, not friend.
Yeah, if this was left for me to find, am I aware of any like hiding place around this area, or?
You know that if this thing was marked the way it was marked, that there's a back
like
entrance, like on the back side of it. Like he had the right idea. You realize that somebody's gonna have to either walk along the edge of this thing and find a way in.
And you said acrobatics for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stand watch here. Y'all go find things.
I can do it.
Yeah, race. It's a race to see as people sort of like scoot along the edge. You get close, and it's just taking you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
13.
13.
She got a nat 20.
You guys start scooping along the sides and stuff like that, and you guys watch as like Thistle's like, and she just like shoves you into the water, and when you sort of like come forward a little bit, and I think you manage to do the thing, and she scoots behind you, and then you come back.
Because I can control air and water, kind of gust of wind push him into the water.
Into the water, yeah. As he's sort of standing, you're in the water. Like it's too much. You're on the other side, and it's taking you a little bit long to maintain your footing. But she's just used to this with the 20 plus. You get to a portion of the wall where it looks like a rock wall. Like, but you're directly across the way.
Yeah, but I have like minor illusion stuff, so trying to put my hands against rocks because I'm looking for illusions or something.
Okay,
because I would hide it with an illusion.
Okay, as you start pressing your hand and you just like start slapping, you see her as like her hand comes out of the water. You guys are all watching, and it just starts like slapping the wall at various points. And in one of the points that you sort of slap at random, a little rock goes like inside the wall.
Guys. Over here.
We can't hear you. You're inside the waterfall.
You're inside the waterfall.
Never mind. I was just really excited.
Thaumaturgy.
Oh, that's right. I can't.
I'm gonna come out.
Are you seriously gonna scream?
I probably shouldn't after everything we've done. No. What I'm gonna do though.
I thought we left you tied to a tree. Nope, you let me tied to a waterfall.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to use minor illusion, a cantrip, like just outside on the other side of the waterfall.
Okay.
Because like the wall's here, I'm here, and the waterfall. To do a minor illusion of a big arrow pointing to the spot where I'm at.
There's a big flashing arrow that sort of like appears, and it's like boom, 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 and it's pointing at a little spot. This is a bad scene for you.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting.
I'm
sitting on a rock.
You guys are like, great.
Same.
Good job.
Same.
I want to take a look around. Just
One of the rocks got pushed in, and there's a small, and there's like an indentation now in the wall.
I'm gonna look through it and reach through it.
As you reach in, there's a spot where the wall sort of dips. So where the rock got pushed through, you reach in and you find another brown sack.
I take it out. I'm not gonna open it. No, I am gonna open it. Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna open it and just look inside.
Okay.
Terrible idea. I'm gonna do it.
It's a terrible idea. But I love it. You reach inside and you find gold this time. But this bag is way more well kept. This bag is actually like, it looks like it's like polished, and the thread on the bag is a little bit more fastidious and well taken care of. And there's even initials, sort of that are like in the bag, like when it was made.
What initials?
It's just a big letter S.
Okay. And there's gold in there?
There's gold pieces and a candle.
Okay, I won't light it now. Okay, so yeah, I
I
can light it. I can do it. All right, so I'm gonna very carefully.
There's a candle, and I will say there is also a ring.
I'm gonna keep the bag closed and tuck it into a pocket or something like that, and I'm going to go. No, I'm gonna tuck the ring into a separate pocket.
All right, you don't take time to really look at the ring, but you take it. And you
Yeah,
tuck it
and
into
just
a side
tuck it into a separate pocket.
And then you give me perception here, as you're close enough to the waterfall that you would see her like take something out and like put it into the.
What was it? It was gold, a ring.
Gold, a ring.
Yeah, it's fine. You're kind of enjoying the running water. This is probably the first like shower or any sort of like with fresh water, like the cleansing sort of like. I don't know if you would take time to enjoy that, or if you're just sort of looking around still, but you don't catch her or shove the ring into her side pocket.
She's behind water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast a message to Cal and be like, "Darling, you have the map and you just jumped in water." You can reply to this message.
Oh, I can send a message back. That's even better.
Amazing.
I'm gonna come. I'll walk out of the lagoon, just like. Oh yeah, I did.
It's gone, buddy. I mean, but luckily you guys kind of recognize the last part in this as the lagoon. So, but yeah, you find. Let's see how much gold you guys found. You found. Oh, that's not bad at all. You found 32 more pieces of gold.
Yeah.
Before.
And there's a candle in there.
Yes. I'm waiting till I get down. I'm going to show everybody the gold and the candle. I am going to, because I think I can light that. No, I can cause flames to flicker. Oh, I light. Now.
Yeah, that's just light.
Anybody who would have matches?
I have a flame starter kit. A tinderbox.
A tinderbox?
Yeah.
So who lights the candle?
I do.
Lightning.
Who holds the candle?
We put it on the ground.
Okay, you take the candle and you set up the candle, and then you get real close to it and you light it, and the candle lights, and then the light around the candle gets dim. It's daytime right now, but it gets dim. It's almost like a cloud cover moved in.
It's like a dark candle. Okay, now what I want to...
This is a reverse candle.
Ooh.
When lit, it absorbs light instead of emitting it. But not enough to affect any sort of combat or anything. But if you were sneaking about and you needed to keep stuff up, this candle absorbs light rather than emitting it outward.
Like Vanta Black.
Yeah.
So this waterfall, does it go off into like a river, or does it go to like a pool? What is it?
The mountain, I think the water sort of like comes down off the mountain, and it's just this small sort of pool and things of that
I just
sort.
want to look like I'm not getting like near the edge. I'm trying to see if any like freshwater mermaid activity. Like,
In this small pool?
Yeah.
You could, you ask Cal, and Cal didn't see any. Doesn't mean there's not one in there.
Okay.
He did mention that there's a dead guy tied to a cannonball that was dropped in here.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on Nell because she seemed visibly disturbed by this area.
Sure. While all of this is happening, people are looking at the candle. You go and you're like, I think it's a beautiful imagery of this like small fairy sitting down and then this pirate just sort of like plopping down next to her. What do you say?
You okay?
Yeah, I just didn't want to go near the water.
Are you allergic to water or?
No, I just don't fly very well, so I thought I would get caught.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that if something were to happen, like we'd catch you and we'd save you and stuff.
It's a waterfall. It's real powerful.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like we're jumping in and out of it and stuff, so I'm sure it'd be fine. Just, you don't have to worry about that as much necessarily as if you were alone.
Thank you.
Cool.
Everybody turns back and I think even Cal is like the first one to turn back, and you're like, shut up.
The greatest of all of us was Edwin.
Yeah.
The one we tried to kill for an hour.
We set out. We set out from the waterfall, and we are headed towards the lagoon.
Okay, I'm gonna be super stealthy on the way over to the thing because I want to pull out that ring and I want to look at it, but I don't want anybody to see me looking at it. Cause
Are you just being stealthy while walking, or you're being stealthy about looking at this ring?
Stealthy about looking at the ring.
Okay,
Because I'm gonna try to trail behind the ring a little bit.
symbols.
Slight. Turns out you are the son of
The sun.
God and the moon god. You are the last. No.
That's not what I was talking about.
Oh.
Look at the.
I was going Lord of the Rings.
So it's not uncommon, I think, for Thistle to sort of move to the back of the pack as everybody starts making their way inland more, looking for this last lagoon. Give me a sleight of hand check as you're just sort of like looking.
15?
Would anybody have reason to look at her?
I've been watching her the entire time.
You've been watching her the entire time?
Yeah, every time we've been like in an open clearing or we've been moving, I've been watching her.
Yeah, I think you guys. What is your passive perception then?
13. Passive perception is 12.
12.
13.
Yeah, those two don't beat the 15 of the sleight of hand. So you pull it out, and then this is, it is a gold ring, and it is very beautifully written. And as you sort of look at it, it is called. You see beautiful flowy script that says the Ring of Wishes. And you ache to put it on your finger.
Oh no.
Oh God. And suddenly she's gone.
Oh no. Like how much do I ache to do with this?
Wisdom saving throw, please.
Yeah, I figured.
We're in this place called Wonder.
8 plus 5, 13.
It's not gonna do it.
And the ring goes on.
There's a moment where you guys all are walking and stuff like that, and you keep walking, and you're still walking, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta put this on. And you take the ring and you put the ring on, and there is a feeling of like etherealness and like magic moving through you as a small voice echoes in your head that only you can hear. You wish you had the other ring of wishes, sucker.
There's another ring of wishes?
And the spell has no effect. You can take off the ring anytime you want.
You have to think it was intended for me. Of course they wouldn't give me that.
I just love that. Sucker.
I was the one that was supposed to find it.
That's great.
This is a ring that once you are inoculated by it, it doesn't have any effect on you. But it upon putting it on, that's called the Ring of Wishes. When you put the ring on, you have to make a DC 15 Wisdom save. But any person that puts the ring on, they feel this ethereal light and this magic move through them, and they hear a voice in their head that says, "You wish you had the other ring of wishes stuck out."
Okay, I take off the ring and I go over. I go over to Edwin as we're walking there, and I'm like, "Hey, psst, I found a ring in that bag. Do you know anything about it?"
Do I?
Edwin, you look at a ring, and it's a beautiful gold ring, and the script alights on the ring, and it says the Ring of Wishes.
Can you tell me?
Can you hold it further away from my face?
Give me a wisdom saving throw. Edwin.
That's gonna happen to all of us.
9.
You want this ring so bad.
Can I see it?
Sure.
You give him the ring. I think this is enough that everybody sort of stops what they're doing at this point and sort of comes over. And Edwin, you want it so bad. You gotta put it on.
Alright, put it on.
You are filled with magic. The magic begins to move through you, and you hear a small voice in your head that only you can hear that says, "You wish you had the other ring of wishes, sucker." And then you are inoculated and don't have to worry about the ring.
And I'm gonna keep walking.
No! Then I'm picking up the ring.
Cool. You have the Ring of Wishes, and then you also have the what did I give you? The
reverse candle.
Reverse candle. Reverse
Whoever
candle.
took the candle.
Yeah.
Like I didn't necessarily take it. 'Cause
The
it was
reverse
something
candle, when lit, absorbs light instead of emitting it.
I'm
You guys-
pocketing the
I
ring.
probably have it since I
It's the ring of
Yes.
suckers.
Yeah. So add that to your inventory, and you get the ring. Of
I'm totally pocketing this ring.
So
This
is
going
no one
to
else
come in
going to
handy.
question what the hell was?
No.
Nope.
I can't wear it.
You.
It's like a headband.
I am 4 inches tall. It would go.
I wish I had the other ring.
It wouldn't work.
All right.
Another one.
Is this in DDB or is this
It is not. I'm having.
I'm taking. I can do it myself.
I will add this to D&D Beyond.
You don't have to. I can.
I found a list of stuff, but these are all like super clever, fun items that I'm gonna give you guys. Wonder's gonna be my group of like swords and summoning demons, and this is gonna be like
Silly.
this is silly, especially at first and second level and stuff. But I feel like you guys can get creative with a candle that takes light away, and that ring. And so
I thought
right
it was
person.
that ideas for that ring.
Yeah.
That's a good distraction.
Yeah, I'm all for this. Nice.
There is a bit of time that passes, and as the sun begins to set, you make your way over towards the lagoon, the No. As you get closer and closer to this water, you don't know whether it's the time of day for the sun to be setting or if there's just too much tree cover. But it's definitely a little darker outside. You can still all see. This lagoon looks like patches of green over the top, is like moss and things like that. Logs seem like they're jutting out of the water and forming odd shapes that if you were looking at it the wrong way would look like maybe clawed hands, or bits of sticks move throughout the water on the surface, creating odd and eerie shapes. What would you like to do?
Well, where exactly in this lagoon was the X?
You don't know. Because the map is gone.
Well, wait,
okay, hang on. You had a lot of time with it. You had a lot of time with it, and you had a lot of time with it. So the three of you give me a D20 straight up int. You're just adding int here. You do have DM inspiration, John. If you roll
hard
low.
20.
A hard 20?
Hard 20.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
not gonna bother.
It's not Nat.
Mine's a 16.
16? Yeah, you don't want to bother?
I'll
roll,
you don't want to go. I'll roll, but I won't.
You don't want to go
use
crit
the
15? Yeah.
15.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Or no, 16 because it's plus.
You're like, oh my god, I can't believe I messed this up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the one who got the map wet. Like, I was like, I have to remember where it was. Okay, I was looking and I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, there was the lagoon, and then in the center of the lagoon looked like a little, little tiny island, and then there was like an X on this little tiny island.
Okay. So then I conveyed that. Little tiny island, X on little tiny island.
Sure, and he points, and sure enough, right in the center of this sort of like body of swampy, murky water, there is one lone tree, and this patch of dirt that this tree seems to be growing on in the middle of this dark lagoon.
How far across is it? Like,
I will say
it's from
it's-
this land to that land.
I will say it's about 50 feet. So it's not that crazy long of a swim.
Are there any little boats or rafts or anything around?
Give me an investigation check.
No. 6.
Yeah, you know what? You're kind of looking through, and it would be so convenient right now if you were able to find any sort of raft or little boat. But as much as you sort of like survey the shoreline, you're not finding anything.
Can I like smell the air to see if it's like salt water, fresh water, sulfur water, like what's going on here?
This is interesting. Yeah. Give me a perception check as you start like. You guys watch.
I also want to know that.
I will let him roll this at advantage as you assist.
Yeah.
Thank God, because that was a nat one. That was a 16.
You kind of help, and you're kind of seeing what he's doing, and you smell, and there's no smell of water whatsoever. You're like, oh man, this place is creepy as heck. I don't know if I'm looking for like salt water or fresh water or sulfuric water, and you start smelling the air, and you're not. You're smelling the green of the trees and the grass and stuff like that, but you're not smelling any.
I'm gonna take a piece of gold from my pocket and flip it into the water. No splash.
Nope.
Sound.
Huh.
I'm gonna.
Well, that answers that question.
Is there?
Hey, you got that thing where you can lift things?
Yeah.
Quartz, what are you doing?
Got the coin back.
I want to go with this land real bad.
I'm
gonna try to start swimming.
Okay, hold on. She tries to get the coin back.
Okay.
Before you do that, let me try something.
You have to be able to see, like you
crazy
can
idea.
send the mage hand in,
okay.
but you have to be able to see the mage hand and be able to. You can start feeling around. You send the mage hand into the water, and it just.
Okay.
But does it feel ground?
How about
all,
this?
or?
You send it into the water, and then.
What's nothing? Just keeps going down.
Yep.
Huh?
What is the terrain?
Muddy.
Is there
dark,
any? Are there any
green.
ledges that are like any mountains, anything like that?
No, you're kind of like secluded. Like this is, and you just climb into the water.
I'm going.
She goes and steps into the water, and it comes up to her waist. And you're not wet.
I'm not dead.
No, you're not wet.
Not wet. I'm not wet.
There's no water.
There's no water here.
I mean, it looks like she's floating. Your head goes underneath, and you see before you. Actually, you guys want to give me earmuffs? Or who joins her? As soon as you see this,
I'd probably stick my head under her.
you two. You keep walking, and before you can look up and see the illusion of water, but in front is a small cottage. The tree sticking up out of the ground is the chimney. But you look, and there is a maintained illusion of water on this earth.
Heading toward it. I'm going toward it.
Yeah. You're not saying anything to the group?
No, I'm just
Okay.
going.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Okay, you guys are good. They're gone.
They're gone?
They both like just go like cool, and they start heading towards the water, and just like their heads go underneath, and they are gone.
Who had the rope?
So what dice do I need to roll a new character for?
Okay. Is there a sturdy-looking tree nearby?
I'm here. I can hold.
You're not a sturdy-looking tree.
I'm not a sturdy-looking tree, but I can hold it.
You know.
You start looking around, and there
I'm gone.
are
I
some
made my
trees,
decision.
and I
Okay.
think between the two, as
If you want to
as
go,
he
then
goes
go
like
ahead.
to tie it, and you sort of like you hold on and brace for it with the tree because you don't know if this thing's gonna snap the second he starts pulling on
It's
it.
also 50 feet, just so we're aware.
Cal's gonna turn around and like stick his head above and be like, "You guys can jump in the water. You're good."
I'm going. I'm going.
I immediately want to get onto his shoulder.
You watch.
Like I fly up.
Yeah. Nell gets close and like sort of like grabs onto the sleeve of your shirt and just sort of like holds on tight.
Okay. You okay with us going in? All
I
right.
promise you, there is no water.
Well, regardless, it's not pleasant. All right, then we step in.
Those who step in pass through the illusion of the Dark Lagoon and look up and are able to see the illusion of the water and the shifting movements of the log. Before you, you see a small cottage with a long chimney that is at the bottom of this carved out lagoon or lake, the tree of which on that island forming a chimney that rises into the sky. This small cottage has a green roof. Looks to be like there is a vegetable garden growing next to it. And there is a small pathway that seems to have been sort of cut into the lake. It's still sort of dark and gloomy, but there is a small cottage that looks like it would be comfortable for one or two individuals.
Are there lights on?
There are no lights coming from the cottage. I will give that to you for free. You are not able to see any sort of light or anything.
Is there any smoke coming from the chimney?
now that you know what it is, do you like kind of let go and fly out and sort of look up?
I'm looking. I'm not leaving.
It's hard because the illusion is there. Like you can see that it's a bit of a. I will say there's the faint sounds coming from inside that.
I just want to clarify. I didn't go in.
You're not going in. Yeah. Okay. So they all leave.
Retroactive earmuffs.
No.
I'm kidding.
It's okay.
Okay.
They all leave, and you're sort of You're on the surface, and you're just sort of waiting to see what happens. But you're standing on the shore.
I'm definitely standing guard, not towards the water.
Okay. That's gonna come into play later. Good. Okay. You guys see the cottage.
Yeah, I took off the moment I went in there. I was gone.
You're at the front door of this cottage.
Do I hear anything? What do I hear? Do I hear anything from inside?
You gonna put your ear up against the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Oh, I'm great at
The
this.
door opens. No.
Oh, hi!
It's a big bad wolf.
In Granny's clothing.
In Granny's clothing.
It's the perception? 7.
It's
Oh, bad.
Is it dark down here?
I'm gonna knock.
It's dim. It's not
dim.
dark.
It's not dark. Okay.
Yeah. There's a knock. As she goes over to the door, and this sound stops. And there's a couple of steps forward, and the door opens. Before you is an. I don't think any of you have ever seen anything that looks quite like this. It's human-ish. It's definitely old. And there are green scales. So think like lizard scales that go up and down like the arms. He's wearing clothing. He's got 2 spectacles. Like that are kind of on the nose, and you see these spots where the green scales are. That with age, some of them have turned almost a rust color, and they're intermingled with the green. He's got a long, sort of reptilian snout, but he's wearing a white shirt and black pants. And he goes, "Well, Rud, it's been a while since I've had visitors."
Hello.
Hello, I don't think I have chairs for everyone here.
Fine, I'll stand.
Oh yes, tea. I have a lovely oolong.
Love tea.
Yes, tea for all. Yes, of course.
I am Thistle. What's your name?
My name. I don't think I've ever been given one.
Everybody has a name.
You should choose.
Todd.
Ooh, wait.
Todd.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Todd sounds remarkable.
When people aren't calling you your name that you don't have, what do they call you?
I don't think anyone's ever called me.
Have you met anybody before?
Oh yes, quite a few individuals who are who are very brave and come here to the Dark Lagoon. But I prattle onward. Tea for all of you, and he will turn around and he will be very conscious of this long tail that sort of comes out from behind him, and turn around. You go into this small. Would you like to recant after a bit of time? Do you go in?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live your
I'm
truth.
gonna cast
It is me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast message. It's 120 feet.
Yeah, she's sitting there, but you cast a message.
Oh my
to
God,
her.
it's
That was like an update. Like,
There's no water. Everything's okay. There's a really cool guy. We named him Todd. You should come down here.
I don't want to.
Well, why
Can
not?
I insight check him?
Sure. What are you trying to insight?
If he's
I cast message
trustworthy?
again. It's a cantrip.
Sure.
Okay.
If he's being upfront about the name thing. Okay,
Give
I'll
me
be,
an insight check.
That is an 8.
It is very tricky because he's old, and you imagine a child who has no concept of old. So you don't know if he's sick, is he hurt, if he's like, because you have no concept of old. Pirates don't get old. pirates just like die? Like, are they like they get to a certain point? That's these guys know that he's just he may just be like old.
Yeah, he just
like,
turned off his power.
but he goes into this room and he's starting to rearrange furniture a bit and sort of set up cups on the table. They are carved out of wood and things of that sort. And he goes over to a pot of water and starts it to boil. And
so why is setting up down here?
Message: we're having oolong tea. Are you sure you don't want to come down here?
No.
Is there anything off about this house inside?
Define off.
Serial killer.
You want to start just scoping out the house a little bit?
Yes.
You give me an investigation check.
Book collection.
That's 10.
There's a bed. There's quite a bit of books. There's a beautiful grandfather clock.
Is it ticking?
It is.
So it is working.
It is a working clock.
Okay.
Todd, how long have you been down here?
Yes. A lot of it is carved of wood, and a lot of the furniture and stuff that you see is carved. And as he looks over at you, he goes over and he gets a thimble out and gets a chair out that's your size and puts it on the table as if he was prepared for someone of your stature, and gets a small, tiny cup and very practiced pours water in the cups and the thimble, and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear. What?
How long have you been here?
Oh, it's hard to can't keep track of time.
It's true.
That's why I got the clock. You know, with the ticking of the years, just as they go by. Maybe it's better to keep track of the days rather than the years.
Yes. Well, this smells lovely.
Yes. Oh God. Yes. Oolong. I actually grow it myself. And a lot of the teas and the different vegetables and things like that. I'm a vegetarian now. And then and pours little things of oolong. So let us talk about why you're here.
We followed a trail here.
The map, yes.
Yes.
Right. Well, it has been some time since anyone went about the business of finding the map, but the treasure is yours. Apparently, someone thought I could use some more friends. What a fun game. And he will go over and take a small chest out that looks to be carved once again out of wood, and he will present the chest on the table, and to the victor go the spoils, the treasure of Todd.
I'm gonna go up and open the casket.
Yep. He goes over and is like, and opens the chest. Inside, you find. Darn it, 63 more gold pieces, as well as a couple of other fun little things.
Okay.
You find an acorn.
An acorn? Okay.
On a.
I'm out. Like, I'm checked out.
You find
I'm having a really hard time.
An acorn on a little brown string.
Okay.
It looks like old shoelace. Old shoelace.
No.
You find a you find a vial with a picture of a crudely drawn eye on it, almost like this big eye on it on this little vial. And the last thing you find is amidst the gold is a tattered, beaten, but still there, brown teddy bear. He says, well, you have found the treasure of Todd. He's growing on me. Yes. I there's only one other rule to this game.
Yes.
Is that you don't tell anyone that I'm here. We maintain. You come up with whatever sort of clever story you wish of beasties and baddies and whatever thing you might have found in the black, dark lake, and I stay here. Yes?
That sounds rather
amiable?
That sounds rather amiable.
Well, you can come visit, of course.
I mean, if you wish. It's been a while since I had visitors. There was a young boy who used to visit all the time. Paul, Patrick, Peter, and the annoying one who used to flit around. That's why I have the cup and the chair.
I was gonna sip the tea just to be like polite.
Yeah. But yes, Peter used to come by all the time, and he used to tell stories, mean stories of the Dark Lagoon, the Black Lagoon. I think I have him to thank for the privacy of the area and things of that sort. And so when he looked as if he was in trouble one day, I broke my cardinal rule. I left my home and defended him against someone that meaned to hurt him.
What did you do before you came down here? What was your purpose?
Bits of this, bits of that. Young man, I have searched my whole life for my purpose in this world, and I have yet to find it. But kudos to you if you have found yours. Post-mortem.
Appreciate it.
You are aware you're a skeleton. So this is not a surprise to you. If if no one was telling him,
you were gonna tell him at Christmas.
I'm so sorry.
Wait, I'm a skeleton.
He chuckles a bit and coughs and he sort of pats himself as he coughs and things like that. Yes, of course. Anytime you wish to have tea or snacks or anything of that sort, I just ask that you not share the location of where I am.
No, that sounds.
Yes.
Then we've made a new friend.
Yeah,
And our other friend isn't here to see it.
Todd.
You've met the illustrious Todd.
Illustrious. I like that moniker.
The illustrious Todd. You look as if you've seen a ghost, dear. Have I said something to upset you? All right. Well, yes, of course. Good luck. Enjoy the treasure. And come back and visit anytime you wish.
One last thing before we go. Everyone, from what I've heard, seems to be coming back to the island.
Yes.
You have already seemed to made residency here.
Oh yes.
Did you ever leave?
No. Why would I?
So you were able to stay here the entire time?
Yes.
Did you fall asleep?
I mean, I do once a day. Sometimes more than that.
Naps are awesome.
Agreed.
I don't remember the clock stopping.
If there's a sickness going around, he's the only one here. How is he gonna know? No one's gonna transfer it to him.
It's true.
It seems like you knew we were coming.
No, not at all. I've just learned to expect the unexpected here in Neverland.
Okay. Why would somebody want you to be friends with him? Because we weren't supposed to be here. It was supposed to be him. Just him.
It was supposed to be
Who
just
gave
him,
you the
wasn't
map?
Do I know who gave me the map? Because it said the real Edwin Reynolds.
Yeah.
Do I know who that is?
You know of a couple of people who claim to be the real Edwin Reynolds.
It was a sober
Including
you
me.
writing to drunk you.
Do you know Edwin Reynolds?
No, I didn't even know I had a name until a few seconds ago. But no, that name does not ring a bell with me.
Okay.
The island that's above your house, is that real? Can we walk on it?
Oh, yes, you could, but there's a chimney there. I would rather you not.
Okay, all right, we won't then.
Yes, but just back the way you came, and you can and sort of remember, tell the story and things of that sort.
Terrifying monsters.
There's only
Would not recommend.
There's only a few of us left on the island, and I would. Well, yes.
There's more.
Who else?
Who else?
Well, I don't want to spoil the whole game, do I?
How about a hint?
How about a hint? In times of great need, we have found ourselves thrust into serving as the protectors of Neverland. So, we are scattered about the island at several points where you will find allusions quite akin to this one. Anytime you find one, you just tell them that I sent you. Oh, you need something. And he will look about the space and, oh, yes. And, and he will start laughing to himself as he reaches up to this tall shelf. And, dear, would you be can you flitter about and go up to the top? And there is a ring on the top shelf, and he asks you to just sort of scoot it forward. Yeah, you scoot it forward, and the ring sort of falls and catches it. And he says, this is one of my souvenirs, famous for it. You take this with you and show it to them, and this should grant you safe passage should you run to any of my other brothers.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You take the small gold ring with a red inlay along the sides of it, emblazoned with a gold leaf H.
A gold leaf H ring. Okay.
He's like, I swallowed that one time.
Cool.
Look, I can do it too.
And he begins to laugh. Very well. If you forgive an old man his sleep, this is far too much excitement for me for one day. Yes.
We'll leave you to it.
Any other questions before you leave? Happy hunting, happy games. Do stay safe. The world is a scary place.
All right. But as long as we know there's more people like you, we'll be safe.
Far fewer than I'd like, but yes.
Let's go join our other friend who is still standing up there and still sitting down, even though I asked her to.
He will shove everyone out and sort of push them towards the door, and he goes, if you do happen to see Peter, would you give him this? I used to make them specially for him, and he rather enjoyed them. And he will hand over a small, he will just hold it up in his hand. It looks like a little tiny piece of paper that's tied on the ends. And he goes, you light the end, and you throw it.
Okay. Thistle, would you like to hold on to that?
Sure.
Cool.
All right, yes?
Yes.
All right, and he thank you for the name. So, what's your name?
Edwin Reynolds.
Oh, does that name sound familiar? And he closes the door behind you all.
Well, that was fun. We made a new friend, and we're going back out.
The six.
Hey, 2 new friends.
I'm still talking if I'm going to eat you or not. I'm sorry.
The 6 of you reconvene on the shore. You're sort of scanning the area, and sure enough, even animals don't seem to come near this particular area. You have seen very little life show up here, and so much so that I think your reward for staying up here and noticing is that you see a bird flying dangerously close to this area. Like, you're like, oh crap, like there is life coming this way, and the bird flies in, and then it gets to a certain point where it crosses the tree line and vanishes. And you're like, what happened? And then 30 seconds later, you see it on the other side of the lake.
It's so cool.
There's a whole functioning ecosystem here that is just hidden by this grand illusion. And you watch as small bugs crawl in and then just sort of disappear.
That's amazing.
The 6 of you reconvene, having met one of the last guardians of Neverland.
I brought Des tea. She refused to take. Come down for some.
Yes, Quartz hands you a small cup. That's what of oolong tea.
Does she force it into my hands?
She doesn't. She
holds
it. She holds it out and offers it to you, almost like an offer.
Oolong tea. It was very good. I thought you might like some. Your whole nature thing gives off. I like tea, so here you go.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Fine.
That's fine.
It's alright.
She's like, I will take the two. More for me.
I was trying to be
As
nice.
the six of you realize that it is getting close to nightfall again, and you are further inland, a brand new set of adventures and things sort of set out before you. Having met one of the guardians of Neverland, that is where we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you guys so much. John, thank you so much for joining us. Would you join us for a little bit next week, too? Just so we can transition.
See why not?
Yeah, just so we can transition Garrison back in. Edwin Reynolds is my plan for Edwin, and John is privy to this. There are several people in Neverland that claim to be Edwin Reynolds. So you may recognize several people from Indigo Chameleon, each a different class and personality, claiming to be the real Edwin Reynolds until we can have a one-shot
Of Edwin Reynolds.
of all Edwin all of the different Edwin Reynolds. So I have a bunch of people that I want to get in to play an incarnation of Edwin Reynolds, and I'm very, very excited about this. And so,
He gets around.
but you are the first.
Absolutely.
And
And the real one.
In our hearts.
that's what they all
Believe me, I'm the
say.
real one.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight and joining us. Don't forget the merch store. Hang out with us on Discord and things of that sort. We love you guys so much. There's always a spot at the table for you. And hey, do we ever want to stop seeing John make these amazing decisions and flipping off NPCs?
Never.
Never. We'll see you guys soon. Later.